Hey everybody, it's me, Kendall. I am back for another book talk as usual. This week I am talking about a really new book that's just came out last month. I was really excited for this one personally because it's written by one of my favorite young adult authors, and that book is Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. I have read all of Becky's other books that she's written just on her own. So Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, Leah on the Offbeat, and The Upside of Unrequited. And I absolutely loved all three of those books. They are super sweet and delightful, and I will recommend them to anybody who hasn't had a chance to read them yet. They are so good. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, as a lot of people already know, has a movie adaptation called Love, Simon, which is also adorable. And now there is a series on Hulu called Love, Victor, which takes place within the Simon universe. So there's a lot of great content within that kind of world. This is Becky's first book she's written on her own since Leah on the Offbeat came out. She has had some other books come out. Yes, No, Maybe, So, I believe is the title of one that she collaborated with another author on. And then she also did What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky. They worked on that together, and that is on my list to read. I actually have a copy at home. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so hopefully soon, and I'm sure it will be delightful. Anyway, let's talk about Kate in Waiting. Like I said, this is the first book that she's written on her own in a couple years, so I had really high hopes for this one. Again, I love Becky Albertalli's writing and her characters and her stories. They're always like a perfect mixture of serious problems and humor and sweetness, and I just really love that. This book is about a girl named Kate and her best friend Anderson, who goes by Andy, and they are big theater nerds. They always play in the school musical every spring. They have big dreams of becoming stars, and they share everything together, including crushes. So every crush that they've each had, they have both had the crush and shared it together and talked about the person that they have a crush on and on and on. And then when they're done with the crush, that's it. It just goes away and they don't worry about it. None of their crushes have ever come to fruition, so there's never ever been anything to worry about. Most recently, they end up with a crush on a boy named Matt, who they met at their theater camp they went to for the summer. And it's all well and good until Matt moves to their area and they all start going to school together. So now they have to deal with this crush in a very real way and figure out how they're going to handle it when they both really start to have feelings for this boy, Matt. It's kind of this is kind of a tough one for me, honestly, because I did enjoy the book, but it's not my favorite. Personally, I think the problem for me is I'm not a big fan of love triangles, and you're basically starting this story with a love triangle because both Kate and Andy have a crush on Matt, and they both have intentions to pursue him. So things just get a little hinky, I guess is a good way to put it. And, you know, there's some trouble with their friendship and things like that. I found that a little frustrating because Kate and Andy are, like I said, best friends. They share everything with each other. They tell each other everything. They're super close. But I feel like we don't really get to know Andy that well as a character. So that makes it hard for me, made it hard for me to kind of root for him or really even root for their friendship. And I felt like that with a lot of the characters in this book, that we just don't get to know them as well as I would have liked to, which I didn't necessarily feel with Becky's other books. It's been a while since I've read them, so maybe I have a different perception now. But there is that. I will say there's great humor in this book. That's done really well. Probably my favorite relationship in the long run ends up being between Kate and her brother Ryan. He's a really lovely character. And then Kate and her brother's friend Noah, who proves to be really sweet. And Noah might be my favorite character from this book. I really liked him, and he's really precious, and I think you guys will like him too. But yeah, so the humor's done really well. Kate clearly has some like anxiety around many different things, so she's very relatable as a teenager. Like, she doesn't think she's very pretty. She struggles with how people perceive her, and then she also has perceptions of people that aren't necessarily accurate. And I think we all experience that a lot in high school and as teenagers. We never really, you don't know someone unless you take the time to get to know them, and this is definitely explored in this book, and I really liked that aspect of it. It's also just like, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in here. It's really fun seeing some of the pop culture references and some of the theater references. If you're into musicals at all, you'll definitely recognize some of the stuff going on in here. If you're into theater at all, you will appreciate this book because it's the core of the story, really. Everything takes place, for the most part, around the musical that they are going to be performing. And I really loved that part of it. It was really fun. And exciting, and I think Becky did a really good job. I also found this to be a pretty quick read. I read this in just a few days, so it's light. There's not a lot of like serious stuff happening in this book, which is kind of nice, a good break. And the friendships that develop in this book are really sweet, even though I would have liked to see that a little bit more. Overall, I would recommend this book to anybody who's a fan of Becky Albertalli. I think you'll like that. Or anyone who's really into theater, or anyone who is a sucker for love triangles. You will definitely like this book. Like I said, it's really light, fun, and overall it was a good read, and I think it will be a hit with a lot of people. So that's all I have to say on this book. I can't say too much without giving a lot of things away, and I definitely try to avoid spoilers in my book talks. So I will leave it up to you to decide if you want to read this one or not. It is available here at the library, so you're more than welcome to check it out anytime. And until next time, I will wish you all happy reading. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, everybody.